Welcome back. I'm here today with my 2022 Ford F-150 Lightning extended range Lariat trim with a Ford F-150 Lightning Pro with standard range battery pack. We're going to do the 70 mile an hour highway range test, and I'm going to do a side-by-side comparison with the standard range and the extended range battery pack. Followers of my channel know that I published a 70 mile an hour highway range test with my F-150 Lightning about a week ago, in which it went 270 miles on a full charge. So I want to see how far the standard range battery pack will go. And instead of just comparing it to the range test I did last week, which we'll compare it also, I thought it'd be better to run my Lightning side by side on the same course, on the same day, in the same conditions, to see exactly how much battery was left in the extended range when the standard range battery pack was completely drained. And in order to do that, I needed a second driver. So I brought in my friend here, Pete Bremy, to do the driving of my Lightning while I drive the standard range battery pack Pro. Now, Pete is actually the bassist for the 60s rock band Vanilla Fudge, and he's also an electric vehicle enthusiast. He drives a Tesla Model 3 and loves EVs, and I know he's wanted to have seat time in my Lightning, so this is a good way to get him in there for a long period of time. So we're charging up now on the Electrify America charging stations behind us. We're gonna head out onto the highway as soon as both vehicles are at 100%, and we're gonna drive down until the standard range battery pack won't go any further. You all ready for this, Pete?
I'm all ready. You know I'm a pickup truck guy. I've had 5 pickups in my lifetime, and I can't wait to get behind the wheel of this Lightning, so let's do it.
Let's do it. So now we're gonna hop out onto the highway, see how far it goes. But first, if you're new to this channel, please don't forget, click that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming content here on State of Charge.
This video is powered by Q-Merit, North America's leading provider of installation services for electric vehicle charging, home energy storage, and other electrification technologies. See how Q-Merit is making the energy transition easy for home and business owners by following the link in the description of this video.
All right, well, we're out on the turnpike now. Pete is driving in my F-150 Lightning behind me, and I am in the standard range Pro version in front. So what we're gonna be doing here is driving up and down the New Jersey Turnpike. We drive in large loops when I do these range tests to offset anything like wind or elevation change. Now, the New Jersey Turnpike is relatively flat, very little elevation change, but the wind can be an issue from day to day, and we always note that when I do these range tests. When I did my range test on my truck last week, the wind was minimal and the temperature was excellent. It was in the low 70s, nearly perfect for range. It's hot today. We're starting off the day at like 89 degrees. It's gonna get well into the 90s. And that's gonna have a little bit of an effect because I noticed I can't have the fan setting on fan setting 1 as it was when I did my range test. Both Pete and I both communicated and said we need it on 2, set at 70 degrees in order to keep the cabin cool. So we have the fan set on 70 degrees, fan setting number 2, which is slightly more aggressive than when I did my range test. And the wind is actually a little bit worse than when I did my range test last week. We're seeing somewhere between 8 and 9 miles an hour, and that's enough to make an effect. I like to see the wind under 5 miles an hour when I do these range tests, but I can't control that, but we do note it. So I set the tire pressure to the manufacturer specified tire pressure before I go. Always do that on the range test. As you see, we DC fast charge the vehicles up to 100%, get the battery nice and warm, good for performance. We also check the speedometer to GPS, which I did on my vehicle and this vehicle. 70 is 70. It's perfect, so we're locked in at 70 miles an hour. I'm gonna monitor the wind app as the day goes on, see if that changes. I have it in normal driving mode. We always put the vehicles in the most efficient driving mode there is. With the F-150 Lightning, in any version, there's no like eco driving mode. You just put it in normal driving mode, which is what I did my range test in and what we're both locked in to today. So that's it. We're going to drive, see how far this goes. What I'm going to be doing is checking in at 75% state of charge, 50% state of charge, and 25% state of charge. I'm going to be calling Pete to see where he's at. And while this isn't really the range test for the extended range battery pack, we're just going to do this to compare and see about how much further it could go on a side-by-side range test. Okay, so this is the standard range battery pack. It has a usable battery capacity of 98 kilowatt hour. The total size of the pack's a little bit bigger. I think it's somewhere around 110 kilowatt hour. And the extended range battery pack, which I have in my Lariat that Pete's driving, is 131 kilowatt hour usable. So it has 33 kilowatt hour more of usable capacity, a third more than what this has. So that's significant, and it should go significantly further with the extended range battery pack. Now, the standard range Pro Lightning that I'm driving here has a combined EPA range rating of 230 miles per charge. Its highway EPA range rating is 201.6 miles. So somewhere around 200 miles is where we think we're going to end up. Because it's such a good range weather today, I'm thinking we're going to get a little more. I'm thinking 205, 206, something like that, but we have to monitor the wind because that could knock a few miles off of this. But, you know, before we really get going, I'm going to predict 206. That's my final prediction. We'll see how close I get. Okay, so first check-in is going to be at 75% state of charge. I'm going to see where we're at. I'm going to call Pete. He's going to tell us where my truck is at. Checking in at 75% state of charge. We have gone 55 miles. Not bad. If we're able to repeat that for the final 3 quarters, we'd finish up with 220. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to be a little bit less than that. I'm still saying 206, 207, most 210, but we'll see. As a comparison, when I did my range test, I think I had 71 miles driven in the first 25%, from 100 down to 75%. But that was the furthest I went in any of the quarters of the test. That happens frequently when I do these range tests. For some reason, the first quarter seems to produce the greatest range of the whole test. But so, I mean, if you use that logic, and we're at 55 now, and then maybe 53 and 52 and 50, we're still going to end up around 210. And that's, in my opinion, fantastic for this standard range battery pack cruising on the highway at 70 miles an hour. Now, I don't have cargo and I'm not towing anything. And I know a lot of people are concerned about that stuff with the F-150 Lightning as far as a work truck. You're going to be towing sometimes. You're going to be carrying payload. We're going to be doing tests in the future with that payload and towing tests. But the first thing I wanted to do is just establish benchmarks with the standard range battery pack and the extended range battery pack as it is, not towing, not hauling anything with one passenger, see how far we go on the 70 mile an hour range tests. Then our future tests, we can compare it when we have payload and so forth. So now I'm going to give Pete a call and see exactly where he's at driving my Lightning with the extended range battery pack behind me. Hey Pete, how's it going? I'm at 75% state of charge now. How about you?
Hey Tom. Oh, you're at 75% already? I'm still at 83. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I can't get over how great this truck is. It's so smooth and quiet. At speed here at 70 miles an hour, I can't get over how quiet it is. Yeah, much quieter than my Tesla. Okay, talk to you at the next check-in.
Okay, so he's at 83% state of charge. That's 8% more battery than we have at this point, which is kind of about what I expected. I figured somewhere between 6 and 8%, and it's at the higher end. So, you know, that's interesting. But the real number is, what's his percent of state of charge when we're done? When this thing's empty, there's nothing left in the tank, how much battery does he have out? We're not going to know till the end of this test, but it's interesting doing this side-by-side comparison to see exactly what state of charge the extended range battery pack is at when the standard range battery pack is at 75%, 50, 25%, and when we're done. We'll check in next when we are at 50% state of charge and the range test is halfway over. All right, well, we're at 50% state of charge and we have gone 107 miles. That means we didn't go quite as far in this quarter of the range test as we did in the first quarter. We went 55 miles and now we went 52 miles. And as I mentioned earlier, that's kind of common. I see that a lot. Our consumption rate is at 2.0 miles per kilowatt hour. I don't think I mentioned it in the 75% check-in, but I was at 2.0 miles per kilowatt hour also. And again, as this happened when I did my full Lightning range test on my extended range pack, it's been bouncing between 2.0 and 2.1 miles per kilowatt hour for the whole journey. So it just so happened at the 75% and 50% check-in, it was at 2.0, but it's been going back and forth like we saw last time. Okay, so let's see where Pete's at. If things are holding steady, let me see, he was 8% ahead of us last time. He should be about 16% state of charge ahead of a system. That would put him at 68% state of charge. Let's see where he's at. Hey, Pete, I'm at 50% state of charge now. Where are you at?
You have 50% now? I'm at 66. Okay. Yeah, I've been using the Blue Cruise a lot, and I'm really loving it. I mean, I love my autopilot on my Tesla, but the one thing I really like about the Blue Cruise is it's hands-free, number one. And number two, what I really like is I change lanes a lot, and when I change lanes, it automatically re-engages once I've changed lanes. In the Tesla, it disengages, and I have to re-engage it when I enter the lane that I've changed into. And also, the cruise control on the Tesla slows down when you change lanes. This maintains speed nice and smooth, much smoother than the Tesla.
All right, well, we are almost at the 25% state of charge point. We're actually at just turned 26% state of charge. I jumped in a little early just to talk about something. Now, one of the things that amazes me is this Pro Lightning with the standard range battery pack, the cost. The base price is like $39.9, I think. This has a few options. It has Pro Power onboard, max towing package, it has the etched window glass. It has a couple of options, not a lot. And the MSRP is like $44.5, I think. My Lightning Lariat with the extended range battery pack, I have max towing package and a bed liner. The cost was $80,000. So $44.5, $80,000, almost half price. But if you factor in the federal tax credit, which I qualify for, that will bring the effective price of my Lightning down to like $72.5. The effective price of this vehicle is $37.5. So if I bought two of these in this exact same trim, it would be about $75,000. My effective cost on my Lightning is like $72.5, as I said. So $2,000 or $3,000 difference, and I can have two of these. Quite honestly, that is such a better deal. I love my Lightning, the Lariat, with all the bells and whistles. I love the panoramic glass roof, and you walk up to the vehicle, you grab the handle, it opens. This doesn't do that. It's got a lot of cool features, but this has the bones of the real features you want. Mega Power Frunk, Pro Power onboard. Honestly, I'm making me wonder if I made the right decision getting my Lariat. This is a ridiculous deal. Okay, we just hit 25% state of charge now, and we are at 161 miles. So that means we went 54 miles in that last quarter. A little bit better than what we did from 75% down to 50%. And our average consumption rate now is actually at 2.1. So that's pretty much what it's been, 2.0, 2.1 the whole trip. Same thing when I did my Lightning test. These vehicles, I guess doesn't matter if standard range, extended range, when you're cruising at 70 miles an hour, figure 2.0, 2.1, if you're on relatively flat terrain. If you're going up hilly terrain, even if you're going up and down, it's gonna be a little bit less. So that's pretty much what you could expect with the Lightning. So getting back to the cost, it's a ridiculous value. If you qualify for the federal tax credit, this nets out to $37.5 for everything you get with this Pro standard range battery pack Lightning. It's an incredible big deal. Yes, it doesn't have carpeting and has vinyl seats, but the seats are comfortable. And for me, you know, honestly, I'm not a big luxury guy. That's the most expensive vehicle I ever bought, and it's nice, but I'm going to put like WeatherTech mats in it, so it doesn't really matter that it has carpeting. I'm going to have vinyl or rubber floors in it anyway, so I wouldn't mind these. And it's so easy to clean out. You can hose it if it gets muddy and so forth. So, I mean, I tell you, if you can get a hold of one of these, even if you end up paying like $5,000 over a dealer markup, although I'm sure the dealers are going to even do more than $5,000, this is not a $37,000 truck. You should easily pay 50 grand for this. In any event, super value. I just had to add that in because I'm so impressed with this. It doesn't have Blue Cruise. It has standard cruise control. You know, it's missing a lot of things. It has the small screen, not the big screen that I have. So don't get me wrong, you get a lot when you get the Lariat or Platinum trims or even the XLT over the Pro. But I'm just talking straight value. This thing, you can't beat this. If you're a business and you can get a hold of these, get every one that you can if you use pickup trucks, because this is a fantastic deal. Now, there is that issue of if you need to tow super long distances, it's a small use case in my opinion. Super heavy loads for super long distances probably isn't the right vehicle for you. But a lot of people have pickup truck contractors that don't do a lot of towing, or if they do, they tow to a job site that's 25 miles, 30 miles from where their depot is or where their home is, where they work out of. So this will work just fine for you. And I tell you, like half price, it's making me think that I buy the right version of the F-150 Lightning. I guess you can't go wrong. They're all good versions. And Ford really nailed it with the F-150 Lightning. I tell you, everybody that I talk to that has one of these, from just novice electric vehicle drivers to journalists that have bought them, all have told me that, my God, it's the best vehicle I've ever owned. It's fantastic. So good on Ford. They did a good job with this. All right, so let's check in with Pete and see where he is. If you remember, he was 16% state of charge ahead of us at 50% state of charge. Let's see where he is now that we're at 25% state of charge. So Pete, how's it going over there? Where are you at?
Hey Tom, you're at 25%. I'm at 48. Yep. Okay. Are you sure you won't sell me this thing? Hey, listen, you didn't really expect to get this truck back today, did you?
All right, so he's 23% state of charge ahead of us at this point. So he tailed off a little bit. It was 8%, then it was 16%, and now I guess it should have been 24% if we kept that same distance, and tailed off a little bit, 23%. But it all falls in line with what we would expect. I mean, this isn't witchcraft. The Lightning with the extended range battery pack is 33% bigger. So it's 131 kilowatt hour to 98 kilowatt hour, 34% bigger. So 8% in each quarter of the trip would end up with 32% more range, which is what we would expect. So we're kind of right on where we should be. When I'm out of electrons, I would assume that he's going to be somewhere around 31, 32, 33% state of charge. We're going to find out soon, because the next check-in is when this guy is empty. Okay, so I pulled off the highway after driving 211 miles at 1% state of charge. I have about 3 miles, maybe 4 miles to get to the charging station. And I'm getting all kind of warnings now, battery critical level, you can't reach the next charging station. So we'll see if we make it, but we have a backup with my F-150 Lightning behind me with Pro Power on board, and the supplied 240 volt port mobile charger that Ford gives, along with the adapter. You need an adapter to plug into Pro Power on board in the back, because it's a 30 amp outlet, and the Ford charging station, or the mobile charger, has a NEMA 1450, but Ford provides you with that with the Lightning. So I have the adapter. If we have to, we'll plug it in, and I'll charge this guy up with my Lightning just to get the last mile or two. I think I'm going to make it though, because these are slower speeds now. I'm driving like 30, 35, 40 miles an hour. So I think I should be able to make it, but if I don't, we have that backup. Another chargers are unreachable, depleted battery, stop safely now. Okay, I'm pulling into the parking lot. I only have like a half a mile to go, but I am getting all kind of warnings. There's like almost no pedal response. All right, still going. I'm still doing 26 miles an hour. So let's see. And so far we've covered 213.5 miles. All right, I have to stop here, and everything is blinking and warning me that we are about to stop. But no, it's pretty good. I've driven EVs where when you get to this point, there's like no pedal response. If I step on it, there's still some left in here, even though we're at 0% state of charge and 0 miles of range left. There's still a little bit of juice left in here. So I think we're gonna make it. I don't think I'm going to need to have Pete plug in my Pro Power onboard. Very cool. Looks like we're gonna end up right around 214 miles. And yeah, and also the efficiency crept up in that last quarter. We're now at 2.2 miles per kilowatt hour. And that makes sense when you multiply the 98 kilowatt hour of usable energy times 2.2. I'm gonna end up with around 214 miles driven. So that's why we're able to make that. Now in this last leg, we are, let's see, if we finish at 214, we're at 161. So that's what, 53 miles? Yeah, it's about what we got in most of the other legs. All right, we're pulling into the charging station now. Wow, I'm at the East Brunswick Electrify America charging station, and it is like completely empty. There's 12 stations here, and there's usually tons of cars. All right, we're pulling in now, and we are finishing up with 213.8 miles with 2.2 miles per kilowatt hour. Not bad for the standard range F-150 Lightning. Now this guy here has the 18-inch tires. I don't think I mentioned that before. Difference between the wheels is on the Pro models and XLT Lightning. They come standard with 18-inch tires and wheels. The Lariat that I have has 20-inch wheels, and the Platinum has 22-inch wheels, and that makes a difference with range. So it's probably why we got a little bit better efficiency here. I finished up my range test with my Lightning with 270 miles and a 2.1 mile per kilowatt hour. We finished up 2.2, and now I'm going to ask Pete. Hold on, he just pulled up next to me. So Pete, what's your state of charge? 30% state of charge, okay. So yeah, that's actually a little bit less than the percentage that the battery is. As I mentioned earlier, the extended range battery pack has about a 34% larger battery, but he didn't finish with 33% when I ended up with 0. He finished with 30%, and that's probably because this is a little bit more efficient. It's lighter, and it has the smaller tires and wheels, and we finished up with a 2.2 mile per kilowatt hour average, and that the extended range battery pack is at 2.1 now. All right, well, next up, we're gonna plug this guy in, charge it up, record the full charging. That's gonna be a separate video. We're gonna do a full 0 to 100% charge recording, standard range Lightning, and see how well this puppy charges on a DC fast charger. As always, thanks for watching, and look, if it's your first time here, please don't forget, click that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming content here on State of Charge.